Paranormal Psychic Wednesdays, Psychic Paranormal Wednesdays. So I'm just going to wait till we start getting some people on, though I'm realizing that I'm not getting a full gauge of how many people are on. So with saying that, I'm just gonna saying that I'm not getting a full gauge of how many people are on. So with saying that, I'm just gonna do some, okay, I know the sound's working. I'm not getting a full gauge of how many. Okay, so I know that the sound is working. If you are on, please let me know in the comments that you're here too, and I'll give that a couple minutes for people to start surfacing here with the YouTube live. Again, I'll say this. Good evening. Welcome to Psychic Paranormal Wednesdays here live on YouTube. Just to give you some background about myself, I've been a practicing psychic astrologer, psychic medium for 30 years now, taking one-on-one appointments. And I also perform live shows, and I've been focusing a lot on paranormal content lately because the bulk of the social media interest has been regarding the paranormal. So that's where I've been focusing most of the videos that are posted. And for anyone that's listening tonight, I do take suggestions of what your interests are regarding anything. Good evening, everyone that's on. As I was saying, welcome to Paranormal Psychic Wednesdays. I'm Eleni, and I've been a practicing psychic astrologer medium for 30 years now. I perform live shows. Last year I performed in Vegas. That's my live show is a psychic and spirit message show. And I've been focusing, as I was just saying, a lot of the videos that I post are paranormal because that's where what's been expressed as the interest area. But I am open to hearing what you want. Sunday, I had another live on a different social media, and one of the regulars had said if I could put together astrology videos, just quick 1 minute of the sun signs, right? Core meaning. My focus is also psychic astrology, and I do teach a workshop on that. And as I was saying last week, is that I'm working to get those online, those workshops, so you could be anywhere in the world live with me taking the workshop as well. I was a university professor for over 20 years, not teaching psychic phenomena and such, but I did write my doctoral dissertation on the psychic priestesses in ancient Greece. So I combine my ability with research. And that's why when I put these videos together, or that I'm talking to you in the live tonight, I hope everyone's doing well. Too, I try to have some structure, but I'm always open to free-flowing, input in the comments section. I know you're also getting to know me stylistically, how I work, what am I talking about, what you're comfortable asking, what are we unpacking, right? Too, a big component of the psychic is spirituality. And I'll say this as well, for those of us that celebrate Christmas next week, right, that we're right on the heels of Christmas time. And I decided to keep the next live on here for Christmas Eve, the same time, and I'll have that on my page. You can also follow me here in YouTube, Eleni Dedes, PhD. even if it's for an hour, because I know this with this time of year, people we're feeling really sentimental. We're missing people. Maybe we're not in the greatest space and we need a lift and a pick me up too. So that's why I've decided. Hi from New Zealand, Melissa. Hello. What time is it in New Zealand? If you could tell me with that. I know that I got asked to do a live show in New Zealand, and it's definitely on the map, New Zealand, for sure. When I filmed one pilot last year, which is more psychic content, a couple of the young women in that pilot are from New Zealand. I happen to have met them by chance. Whereabouts? Hello. It's Thursday afternoon in New Zealand. Okay, this is good for me to know with the time zones. And let me just take, I know because I have people in Europe and it's not compatible for them to catch the live 1:35 p.m. New Zealand. I'm just taking some notes here because I'm during the live, right? Because for example, I mean, unless somebody's, a late bird in England, it's 1:30 a.m. In Rome, it's 2:30. No, wait, let me see. Wait. No, it's 12:30 in England right now. It's 1:30 in Rome. Oh, you're in did I say that right? Auckland. Is that the capital of New Zealand? Sorry, I mean, I know New Zealand is near Australia. Hello, right? You refer to yourselves as Kiwi. Hello, good evening to a Kiwi from New Zealand. I'm definitely interested in hearing from you. What's the pulse in New Zealand? What are you interested in? What do you want to hear me talk about? Because there's a range. I have a range from psychic, which is predictive, what's coming up for you. And I probably said this last week. In the context of a message, a psychic message is what's coming up for you. And I'm one of the few live shows that Wellington is the capital. Okay, thank you for the clarification. I'm going to have to review New Zealand on the map, but I definitely do want to get to New Zealand, and if we can make it happen to perform a live show there, I'm definitely open to that. So a psychic message, right? You see this. I'm one of the few live shows that I named this show that I have right now when I perform a psychic and spirit message show, because psychic's what's coming up for you. That is a different flex, right? When I'm receiving a psychic message, that's connecting to channel, the source. Nikola Tesla, the great inventor, he was psychic, right? So he said around you is an energy field. And okay, let me see. I'll get to this in a second. Good thing this is moving. Okay, yeah, I'm reading this, Melissa. Hello from Croatia. What time is it in Croatia? Are you in the same time zone as Athens, Greece? I'm seeing this, Melissa. So in that energy field, the psychic information is around you. And I say this at the live shows. You're the outlet I plug in. All right, so let me go. So, and then psychic mediumship is a different gear of connection, relatives, loved ones, pets. Okay, so Travis went back into spirit July 19th, and there's definitely a synchronicity here because one of my friends who's in the spirit world, that sometimes when he brings people through, which he did Monday night at a psychic party, is July 19th. So we definitely have a synchronicity. You said, I finally got to meet him for the first time. Hours later, he died in a car accident. Could you clarify that? Because I'm not exactly understanding that. Are you saying after he departed here, you saw his spirit? I'm not sure I'm understanding. It's 1:30 in Croatia. Okay, so you are on the same time zone as Rome, Italy with Croatia. I know it's fairly close to Greece. So hello from Croatia too. And I do want to know what parts of the world that you're in. Melissa, you're going to have to clarify that for me because I'm not understanding. And let's see, holla, is Elizabeth, are you hollering at me? Are you giving me a holla there? as well, and hugs back to you as well, Elizabeth. So that I'm going to need some clarification, because when you're asking mediumship over a screen, let me see. It's saying add a Q&A sticker. We don't care about that. How do I get this off the screen now? Can I get this? Sorry, your favorite texture. I thought it was going to let me just try to put it somewhere else. This is really annoying now. How do I get this to go away? And there, it's near my face. Sorry, this is the whole thing with figuring out. Each social media has these different. I thought it was going to let me pick a Q&A. Gosh, how do I get this off the screen here? Let me see what this is. All right, I'm just going to leave it. Oh, that's great, because with the recording. Drag here to end Q&A. All right, let's see. Drag here. Okay, I figured it out. And this is a little bit with the technology. Okay, fairy. Okay, so are you asking, is there an interest there in fairies, discussing fairies? Thank you for the likes. And I do want to know what parts of the world you are tuning in from. Hello, is it Nizar? Am I saying that right? What part of the world are you tuning in from? Well, it's this evening for me. I'm on the East Coast. I'm on New York time. So everyone knows with that. We only communicated through text and phone calls. I met him for the first time on the 18th. He hugged me goodbye at 11 p.m. He died suddenly on his return home early 19th July morning. Yeah, I mean, that is a lot to say. Where am I from? I'm in New York. Nizar. I'm East Coast in the United States. An American Greek, just so too. I will be in Greece for about a month next year, so I will be doing the lives from Greece too for a couple weeks next year for sure. Okay, so let me start off with this, Melissa, right? So this was this past July, and this is where with mediumship, sometimes it takes up to a year for someone to come through, right? When you go back into the spirit world, you have to learn first how to communicate through a medium. Some people, yes, it's very quick. They come through. My friend Jeff, who has the birthday, that the day your friend departed, went, back into spirit. Because for us as mediums, it's not death. It's just, the physical body. So, hi, everyone that's tuning in tonight. I don't get a proper gauge of how many people. Thank you. I appreciate that, too. I try to speak clearly, and also I come from a bilingual home where English is not the first language. So I do try to, also now that this is a more international audience to the YouTube live as well. So if you don't understand something, I will definitely repeat it. So okay, your friend July 19th, right? That is just about 5 months. Now sometimes people come through and speak. My friend Jeff, and that's what's saying, Jeff was speaking to me within a couple weeks, but we also had cultivated a relationship, and we would talk about, these, type of, these topic areas of spirituality, psychic, mediumship. So, but other people, Melissa, it can take up to a year for that person to come through and speak. What I would do is I would ask him to visit you in a dream and ask your guides, right? Your spirit guides. Spirit guides are not your relatives, your loved ones, your pets. You have spirit guides that are assigned to you before you come in. Ask your spirit guides to help you remember the dream. Ask him to come through in the dream and let you know that he is okay, right? Because dreams are the most non-invasive way for us to make contact. And you can have your own psychic mediumship contact with your loved ones when you're dreaming, because you're in that theta state. And when you're in that theta state, your brain waves are more open and receptive to receive on the higher frequencies, which is where, yeah, it is a little bit too early. I'm sorry to say, but because and also too, because it's on a text. Like, I had an in-person party the other night, right? That was in person. I had a young man drive over with me that had OD'd, but this was 7, 8 years ago. So when I walked in the party, I said, who's got the OD? Because he's here with me and he's ready to talk to you tonight. But he has been in the spirit world for 7, 8 years now. So it is soon. But, I think for you, a good exercise is to practice in asking for him to appear in a dream. And, too, that's why a lot of times when people unpack a psychic mediumship dream with me, I have green tea, everyone. They say, let's just say I saw my father, and I say, okay, how did he look? He looked great. How was he interacting with you? He was happy. They're letting you know that they're doing okay and they're happy, because what happens when we sleep, right? We can visit them on the astral plane, which means, right? So when you go to sleep, so you can float out of your body, but there's a silver cord that keeps you also connected to the body. Have you ever woken up and suddenly felt as if you were back in your body? I've had it happen many times. That's a lot of times because you're fresh off an astral, and you're just not allowed to remember all the time that you spend with loved ones in the spirit world, because we're here. And there's a reason why we're here. We have lessons here that we are choosing to learn, to evolve, and accelerate. But a lot of times we astral and spend time with our loved ones when we are sleeping, like that knockout cold sleep. It's a lot of times too, or either your guides, you're having a meeting with your guides and they're going over too, just your plans, your progress, if something's bothering you in your day-to-day life, but you're not allowed to remember it, because it is a higher frequency. It is a much higher frequency than here. And I probably said this last week, right, too, and that's where, too, I'm going to tie in also my academic training, but I'm going to try to keep this simple, because one of the purposes of my lives is to provide information and knowledge about the psychic, how it works, how you can connect with it, the ins and outs of it. So, hi, Judy. I know Judy. Oh, Judy, thanks for checking into the live. That too. I know you said you were going to tune in. Thank you. Judy, you can chat your little heart away. Judy, and I'll go into the dimensions. Okay, I will do that tonight and ask the guides to remember, and ask Travis to come in my dream. I have another friend who came in through a dream. All right, if you want to write that too in the script. Judy, I was just talking about with mediumship, us connecting, how when we... Oh, okay. I think I see the high in the first one. It's got the hand waving. I see it. I was just talking about, Judy, in how to have psychic mediumship contact in our dreams, because Melissa was asking about someone that she lost recently. And I was saying sometimes it takes up to a year to make contact with a medium or us. And I was saying, ask your guides to remember your dreams. So when your loved one visits, you can remember the visitation. That is one way of us staying connected to our loved ones in the spirit world, because we astral to meet them when we're sleeping. Unfortunately, a lot of times we just don't remember it, but it is an often occurrence, too. So I was, I was going to go into really quick, right? So this is theoretical physics, and I'm not a trained theoretical physicist. I earned my PhD in philosophy and religion. However, Albert Einstein, psychic, too. I'll talk about him at times as well, some of his discoveries and how it pertains to psychic interests and aspects of the psychic. So according to theoretical physics, there's 11 dimensions, okay? So your loved ones are in the higher dimensions, right? And 11 is a master number. So theoretical physics, these are the theories of theoretical physics. It's not as simple that it's our dimension and then there's just one other dimension. There are dimensions, plural. So your loved ones are in a higher dimension. So when you're sleeping and you're meeting up with them and you're spending time with them, you're going into a higher frequency, right? And then your guides have to help you go back into the body that it's not overwhelming, or sometimes when you wake up and you're really exhausted, it's because there's a good chance you astraled and you're spending time with your loved ones in the spirit world. You can do this even with your pets that now are back in the spirit world and spend time with them. They come to visit you. What happens is they come down a little bit in the frequency and you rise up, and then you find a middle ground to spend time together. Too. That's why also I teach a workshop on astral projection, because it is a type of astral projection, that psychic mediumship in the dream state. And that's what, too, as mediums, I can only speak for myself, right? We want you to connect and have your own experiences. As Albert Einstein said, your experiences are your proof. That's what's saying. When you talk to people and they're non-believers, that's their choice. I can't transfer, and I'm not saying this to you, but when people question or say, no, it doesn't exist. Einstein said your experiences are your proof. I can't transfer my proof to you. And that's why you hear, let's say, with ghost stories, someone said, I didn't believe in ghosts until they saw one, and then they believed. But that person that has that experience going from non-believer to believer is an open-minded skeptic. And that's what's saying, too, we appreciate skepticism that's open-minded. A closed-minded skeptic is probably not going to have an experience unless they shift. And that's what, right, Judy? You've seen ghosts. You have that one picture, too. He's studying physics. So you know what that is, Melissa? That's a synchronicity, okay? I'm talking about theoretical physics. He studies physics. Carl Gustav Jung. There was Sigmund Freud, right? Have you all heard of Sigmund Freud? Wasn't psychic. But Carl Gustav Jung, who was in the same era as Freud and was the father of modern spiritual psychology, and he was psychic. He wrote his dissertation on one of his cousins for his PhD. Right? You have to write a dissertation. That's a final hoop to be conferred as a doctor. And he wrote his dissertation on a cousin of his that was a psychic medium. And I'm getting to a point here with Melissa and the physics. Jung was the one who coined that. Melissa saying, you're talking about theoretical physics. My son studies physics. Jung said that that's a synchronicity. It's not a coincidence, it's a synchronicity. And one of the aspects of the psychic and spirituality is recognizing when spirit is providing you with synchronicities. Judy has seen ghosts. She got one on picture, that too, very vivid, of a face of a man. I think, right, we were saying he could possibly even look like Freddie Mercury there. And that's because Judy is open to wanting to see and connect. That's saying, and too, and that's for yourself when, you can have experiences. It's not always the second that you want it, that to say. A lot of times it's when you're, going about your day or, you're unwinding for the evening. Right, Judy worked in a psychiatric hospital, and she was also on an episode of Ghost Adventures of the first season. If you know who Zach Bagans is, if any of you watch the Ghost Adventures show, he actually interviewed her. She's in one of his episodes. I believe it's season 1. So working in a psychiatric hospital, she had a lot of experiences because a lot of times Psychiatric hospitals are rife with activity too. I know in one of the other lives, there was a man from South Dakota and he was talking about, having done an investigation at not active psychiatric hospital. Those are hotspots for activity, for sure. So let me see, where was I was talking about Jung and synchronicities, and I had someone else, right before the live call me up because I was explaining to her, these are synchronicities. She kept running into aunts of hers that she hadn't seen in 30 years, 4 times. And you know why that happened? Because her grandmother in spirit orchestrated that. Her father's mother, and those are her daughters. And she said, we've lived nearby each other 30 years. We haven't been in contact. And now in 2 weeks, I see them in 4 times. And I said, that is your father's mother. I'm not going to go into all the layers of her story here, but that's a synchronicity. And that's what, you can have connections with loved ones. Who are you? Yes, see, it's a synchronicity. When you start understanding, psychic is a language. Psychic mediumship is a language. When you see auras, right? I teach a how to see auras workshop. It's a language. Aura is a language, the color field that emanates, which is from our soul and then is all around our physical body. You can have, then that's why the dream exercise, Melissa, right, Judy, you also believe in synchronicity too. That's saying, and that's where you start to see when you start connecting, however you want to call it, God, spirit, source. When you start sinking in, it makes it easier for the guides, God, spirit, however you want to call it, to connect and provide these synchronicities to you because you're open and receptive and you're and that's why meditation and prayer helps open that up. Right before I got on the live tonight, I made sure I did a prayer because that grounds the energy to bring in the good, the positive, and all of that. And it just makes, connecting to God, spirit, clearer. So who are famous people you'd like to connect with? Because I not only get visits from our loved ones and my loved ones, but I do get quite a bit. I do get a host of people that were celebrities when they're here, from presidents, United States presidents, as well, to a lot of U.S. celebrities, some Europe too, as well. So are there specific ones, Melissa, you're thinking about? What are you asking? What are they up to? How are they spending their time? I can tell you whether I have any information on that celebrity that's now back. Bob Marley. I'll tell you this. I get he's still puffing away in the spirit world, but it's a different type of puffing there, to say. When you're saying I have not had a direct visit from Bob Marley, but I do get he is in the spirit world and he's having a good time. Nothing's changed. He had a good time here. He's having a good time there. That's what too. And speaking of Freddie Mercury, one time when Freddie visited, because I've had multiple visits from Freddie, he stopped by smoking a cigarette. And he did smoke cigarettes when he was here, silk cuts. But it's a different sensation than here because we're not tangible anymore when we are back in spirit, right? When you go back into spirit, you have to reacclimate yourself to not moving around in a physical body. For some people, that takes minutes, hours, weeks. It depends on the person, right? Too, you have to learn to move around now just being of spirit. So that's why I'm saying when you talk about, that, let's see, remember when you came to my house and we had the Lincoln connection? Yeah, that was definitely synchronicity. And I did get for the gingerbread cookies, Judy, I did ask Anne Marie to write Abe on one of them because Abraham Lincoln's favorite cookie when he was here, right? So saying Kurt Cobain. I'll go into Kurt in a second, but I am going to censor what I'm going to say. And it's nothing as a reflection of Kurt, too. I have had one visit from Kurt. And I will be vague when I'm going to say what I say. So I had Abraham Lincoln. He's a U.S. president. His favorite cookie when he was here was a gingerbread cookie. So that way too, if you want to do like an homage, like saying with Kurt Cobain, we love President Lincoln, or as I refer to him as the anointed one. So it's a little homage having his name written on one of the gingerbread cookies that I'm picking up on Christmas Eve next week for a party. And Abraham Lincoln, right? He's not in the spirit world playing golf all day. For those of you who are interested in anything U.S. politics, he is constantly at the White House. He is still got, his hands in the best interests here. I'm speaking of the United States, too. Kurt Cobain. Yes, I have had a visit from Kurt Cobain. And Melissa, I'm going to say this. He did not commit suicide. I'm not going to say much else because I was thinking about this before. I'll talk about celebrities somewhat, but I don't want to get into controversial waters, right? Just like I've had visits from Notorious B.I.G., I've had visits from Tupac, I've had visits from Kim Porter, and they all have that connection to that documentary that was #1 here out in Netflix. So when what gets revealed, that included with the visits, but I tread really cautiously and I speak vaguely, too. But, people get their comments. I say this even too in the readings when somebody, is upset, let's say in a relationship and, the ex, yeah, you get it, Melissa. That's why I'm being vague, too, because I'm not going to go into specifics. Just like too, when people ask, I really don't want them giving me the specific details of that, first of all, and saying we all work differently as mediums and psychics. It's very upsetting to me. Not that I don't want to know it, though. It's not what I want to focus on with the visit. But, too, the visit may be to set the record straight about when they took their last breath here, either who was involved or, was it set up to be something it wasn't. So, those people, they have their karma, to deal with. And this is, saying this with the readings. When somebody asks, like, let's say, an ex-husband, well, he's moved on, he's got a fabulous life. And I always say, you know what, give it time, because it's not wishing it on the person. It always catches up to them. People that are negative and deviant. Yes, I did see him in Palm Beach. You're saying John, are you saying Junior Kennedy? Or are you saying President Kennedy? Are you saying his father or the son? Too, if you can clarify with that. But that's the thing. When people are shady or negative or, just do really awful things, as I was speaking vaguely with those 4 celebrities, it always catches up to them. I was seeing something recently about a documentary related, and it's not the one that's on Netflix that's going to come out. And I thought, and it's a praising documentary of this person. Yes, I have had visits from him, not recently, once with his mother and once by himself. He was not with the wife during the visit. Him and his mother are interested in archaeology, one of their interests, but it's not recent that I've had a visit from John Jr., but I have had 2 visits from him. So he is doing okay, but he did not talk to me about his last moments. I do know he was very handsome. He was that, what did they call him? Camelot or something. women were a lot of women were found him very handsome. Yes, Judy. And I agree. And I do know with the plane, right? So pilots are supposed to get two types of licenses to fly. It's visual, and there's two types, but it's not regulated that they have to have the licensing, at least with if they're privately flying, from what I understood. He did not take the training for both types of certification to fly a plane. So that also, if you want to say, do I think they had a curse on them? You know, I don't myself, I don't participate in curses, spells, any of this. Judy knows this, voodoo dolls, Ouija boards. I work with the white light of the Holy Spirit and the Christ consciousness. You can a curse, it's, too, and I'm just saying with my mentors, too, and their belief system. I don't know if I would say a curse. From when I talked to recently someone that flies planes, and it actually was this summer, he got brought up in a conversation. He said, yeah, a lot of tragedy in the family. And supposedly Jackie, the mother, had a premonition about him having an accident with an airplane. I believe she begged him on numerous occasions not to fly an airplane. But he didn't get the two. I don't think he had the certification in the visual. There's two. When you fly an airplane, there's a visual, and I guess there's the technical. And I don't think he got the two types of certification. And I believe it was with the visual, right? And you take that night. I mean, I remember this a little bit, right? This is 1999. He's going to Martha's Vineyard with the wife and the wife's sister for a wedding. The conditions were not a night to fly a plane, if I remember this correctly. And if I'm remembering this correctly, and he did not take that visual test. Well, what was going on that night, right? The visual optics were very off flying to Martha's Vineyard for that wedding they were supposed to attend that they never made it to. So he's doing okay. He's doing fine. He's maintained his personality. He looks the same. I can only speak when he's visited me. Again, it has not been recent. I'd have to think how many years ago was the last visit. Maybe it was 7 years ago, not recent, but he's doing okay. Too, but he did not stop by with the wife. So I don't know whether him and the wife are together in the spirit world as a couple, because that's something else too. When with mediumship and parents come through, whether it's at a show or a one-on-one, sometimes people that were here as couples, and it's usually a very, they just really were oil and water. They, you know what I mean? They can be together, they cannot be together. I've seen the gamut with mediumship when loved ones come through, like someone's dad, and they're saying, oh, let me see what Judy's saying. Gene said that the night he was flying, the fog was bad, and John got confused regarding his flight pattern. This is when Gene worked at the medical examiner office, right? And that fits the visual training, right? That he was supposed to that testing, because he didn't train in the visual. I don't know. To me, not that I know a lot about flying planes. I've flown in a plane, not flown a plane. But if you think back, and when I had that conversation with the pilot this summer, what I assessed in talking to the pilot was his visual optics were off, and he didn't take the test you're supposed to take. There's two tests that the pilots take. And one is the visual. And from what he told me was he did not take that visual test. And I said to him, but how is that not regulated if you're flying a plane? That's saying even if it's private, I don't know with the airlines if it's regulated, but I would think across the board, it would be regulated. How could you let someone fly a plane and not have passed the visual test? I mean, sometimes with the conditions, not that I've ever been in a plane where it was treacherous. I've been with some turbulence. I mean, and the plane has gone down a little, not like the severe when you read in the news, but I don't know. That's what's saying. I don't know if it's a curse. I think on his end, he didn't take the test and the training that he should have taken flying airplanes, which was the visual. That from what, I was told recently about that. And I'm not judging him. I'm not blaming him. I'm not faulting him. That's between him, his wife, and his wife's sister. That's, however they decided. Okay, yes, I have had visits from Ozzy. Yes, I have several, more than several. What do you want to know about Ozzy? I'll tell you what with Ozzy. I'll give you some. So when Ozzy left the body in July, he walked around the earth at first. When he first visited me, he hadn't gone into the spirit world, too. And I left out actually the first time he visited. And he, sometimes come by in those Lennon glasses he likes to wear. Ozzy walked around the earth for about 5 days before he went into one of the tunnels, right? The tunnels take us to and from the spirit world. And that's not me. That's Einstein put that on the map, 1935. He called them wormholes. I call them spirit tunnels. There's trillions of them. Yeah, I like Ozzy, and I'll say this from when I was really little and that overplayed that he bit the head off the bat. I knew intuitively very little. I knew he wasn't a scary or mean person. I never felt frightened by him. Too. But what happened with Ozzy was, and I mean, Ozzy's in the spirit world now and he's doing great. I mean, he goes around Sharon a lot and the kids. I do get at times, when, with the kids or his wife, why he's spending more time with, his wife or, his son or his sons or, his daughters. Ozzy walked around the earth for about 5 days because when he first visited, he hadn't crossed into the spirit world because he wanted to check out the earth before he went through one of the tunnels. I mean, he did go into one of the tunnels. I mean, now, because there is no time in the spirit world, yeah, also to a couple relatives came and got him. And interestingly enough, I'm not getting it was dad. Not that he hasn't spent time with his dad. He sure has. But I'm getting mom and grandmom. Because what happens too, right? When it's your time is up. They hold a meeting, your relatives, loved ones in the spirit world. Who's gonna, like, hey, over here. Come on. See, I'm here. I'm here. We're seeing each other again. Ozzy walked around the earth for about 5 days, too. Yeah, see you on the other side is your song. Yeah, and that's a way too. Yeah, that's a great song. So songs, Melissa, you bring up a good point. Songs are a way to have a code with your loved one to let them let you know that they're around. So, that's good that you have that because Ozzy knew there was a spirit world, but he also questioned and he just didn't take anything and everything. So yeah, I mean, it's tough, because it's not the same that they're in the body, spending time with us. We still, a lot of times we feel that void, that hole. And that's why I was saying I'm committing to coming on Christmas Eve. I wasn't going to at first, but when I meditated, my guides said to me, no, go on Christmas Eve and be on here for a little bit on New Year's Eve because, this is a time of year we're missing people. We're in need too. So I will keep the schedule next week. And I'm going to keep the Wednesday as is because my guides instructed me to have, the next lives, Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve. But yeah, I mean, with Ozzy, he's doing great. It's more honestly, it's Sharon, it's Jack, it's Kelly, and I'm sure there's tons of mediums trying to reach out to them, like, oh, your dad's here, your dad's this and that. But yes, I have seen Ozzy. I'm going to point to the left because there's my kitchen. I've seen Ozzy in my kitchen. I've seen him in the bedroom. Too, also sometimes he visits me in dreams, saying, also, yeah, music is a way to heal your soul. That's good that you have a lot of songs you sing for loved ones because they can also, with that synchronicity, when you designate a song, they can find ways to connect to you through a song. When I was in my doctor's office and I was talking about something else with Ozzy when he was here, because he had a lot of ups and downs with addiction, but also, too, I was able to figure out what that was rooted in from his childhood and not from his parents. When he used to moon at the shows, that was a trauma response from what happened to him as a kid. I mean, it's awful, but that was a factor into the ups and downs he had with addictions. I'm trying to remember where I was going to go with this with Ozzy to say. So I was in my doctor's office with the nurse and I was talking about Ozzy and we were talking about the one when, he had the ups and downs and let's say he attracted something lower vibration and, I mean, God bless Sharon for, being all forgiving. I mean, loving him unconditionally. That, I was talking about him and then the nurse came back in and she said, "You won't believe this. Mr. Crowley is playing on our music." We were just talking about, I said, "That's him letting you know that he's around and he's hearing this conversation." Because I mean, I don't really use tarot anymore, but when I didn't I didn't go looking to learn tarot. I was actually given a gift many, many years ago, but obviously at the live shows, there's no tarot. I very rarely use tarot. But the deck that I learned on was the Crowley deck. So when Ozzy first visited, I left a Crowley deck out as an homage to him. Because so Mr. Crowley, that song was written. They were in the studio one night and somebody had a Crowley deck in the studio and they wrote that Mr. Crowley song, right? Mr. Crowley. Is there a button to invite people? I just sent text messages. I don't know, Judy. I mean, you could tell them my YouTube. If they put in my first name and last name, it should pop up and they can click on the live because I know, yeah, that's what's saying. And also too, he was very interested in the mediumship aspects. He wanted contact with his father. He wanted to know, I will see my dad again. We will spend time together. Randy Rhodes, he missed dearly. I have not had any visits from Randy Rhodes, but they have spent time together. I get that Randy Rhodes is in a higher vibration. I mean, Ozzy's gone up to that vibration and spent time with him, or Randy has also, met him in a middle ground frequency dimension. But, he's doing great. It's more, it's hard for Sharon. It's hard for Jack. It's hard for Kelly. I mean, they love, she loves her husband. They love their father very deeply, and I think the first months in some ways are the worst. I mean, you can agree to disagree, but it's so fresh. You're so used to them being here. I think as time goes on, you miss them and the grief never goes away, but you want to try to get it to 10% if you can. And, I do pick up at times who he's with because who's going through what. Um, whether it's Jack or it's Kelly or it's Sharon. I mean, those are the three I get the most. But I think Sharon's gonna stick around. But it's tough, but he's doing great, Ozzy. He's great. He's happy. They still give concerts over there. Too. When you talk about the spirit world, we do things there. We just don't sit on clouds and play harps all day. I forget who I was reading for. Oh, it was this was recently when one of someone's relative came through, and I was like, did your grandfather tinker with cars? Yeah, I mean, grandpa tinkered. I said, there's car shows in the spirit world where they drive cars and show them off. I mean, you'd be amazed at how many activities there are, because that's what too invention here first starts from the spirit world. That's what too Tesla would channel, Einstein would channel. You see this even with artists, painters, they're channeling, right? Too. That they're connected to spirit, receiving the download. They are co-creating, right? We're here to co-create with God, too, because through that also we raise the vibration of the God frequency through co-creation, as well. So, yeah, that's Ozzy is one that, yes, I have a lot more specifics with, too. You've been told your intuition is always 100%. Your mother is more psychic. You feel things like that gut feeling, and you can feel energies. That's a really good point. I know in the other pilot we filmed last year, it's not the one I'm shopping now. We just got the other pilot up and running last week. But that's right. Intuition's a gut feeling, and psychic is specific, right? And the one pilot that we filmed last year, I had a segment what's the difference between intuition and a psychic knowing. And right, that intuition is you meet someone, you get a good vibe, you're like, oh, this person's cool, and it pans out that person is cool. Or the other way, you don't. Psychic is then specific. Like, say, you pick up, let me see if I can think of something positive for a psychic example, because it's very easy for me to go into, like a theft or something like this. Like we given the example to the other pilot. You shake someone's hand and you have a vision that, let's say, they stole something. And be specific. Like, let's say they stole jewelry from a jewelry store, and you touch their hand and you get in your third eye a vision. So let me, that psychic is specific. I mean, you can learn more. Mediumship requires a lot of work because there's a lot of layers to it. But I definitely, don't discourage as long as you go from an ethical approach, because there's different layers with mediumship. And again, when I talk about it, I say I can only speak for myself and how I receive information, or how I see people when they appear to me from the spirit world. Who's got a little bit with one of the shoulders right now, a little tension in the shoulder, because also too, I'm not, because also too, it's in the comments, but, it starts, if you're asking, I never trained with anyone, Melissa. I have mentors. That's in how to talk to people, the ethics of spirituality, the ethics of psychic ability, the ethics of mediumship. I can only say for myself, I meditate and I pray, but I did work hard these last years on my mediumship because the market necessitates it. When you perform live shows, the bulk of the shows are mediumship only. So performing, you have to deliver some mediumship to the audience as well. But there's, too, you have to learn, right? Too, I can only speak for myself. When they speak to me, okay, so I had a psychic party Monday night, and the young man with the overdose that drove over with me, I heard him talking to me. That was very vivid mediumship. So when he was talking to me in sentences, we're all different. Other times it's telepathically, they're conveying, information to me. So, you start with the feeling. Sometimes when people come through, a grandmother can come through as a mother energy. Um, Father-in-law can come through as a father because usually they were close to that person. You have in your right shoulder, I just felt it, Melissa. I'm also a physical empath. So that's why I know even when I was my other live Sunday night, I was going to bring something up. And do you get a little bit sometimes a headache? Because I'm feeling a little bit of like around here, like a tension headache. So, that could be anyone, if that also too, because I felt like a little bit of a tension here. Um, so, with the mediumship too, there's times too, sometimes the loved one comes through, and especially in front of an audience, sometimes I don't say what the loved one is saying because I don't think in front of the audience that it's in the best interest of the person. Now, you know, I'm accessible after a show, so people usually ask me after, and I tell them in private. But you have to make those split second decisions too, because they have personalities, and in the spirit world, and some are saucier than others. And I say that in a good way. I mean, I can say this as a medium. For me, it's a social hour. I enjoy getting to know your loved ones, their personalities. It's the same as here as meeting, new people and enjoying what they have to say, and, relaying the information to the loved one. But, also one of my mentors, Tim Brainerd, Judy knows about Tim. Tim says, yeah, Tim's not really taking classes. I mean, he's old school. He's been a practicing medium 57, 58 years. It's, yeah, you work at it, meditation, prayer, you have to commit to it. It's a constant. Yes, I understand when people call it a gift, but when you commit to it, it's also an ability. Hi, Jean Ann. Judy, it worked because Jean Ann was saying, oh, thank you, Jean Ann. I appreciate that. Judy was trying to invite directly through YouTube. So I'm glad to see. I also know Jean Ann. She's a Pisces. Melissa, you're saying also lower back. I felt your tension headache, Melissa, but I also push it out. See, thank you, Judy. Melissa, I'm a physical empath. So which means, right, I don't medically diagnose anyone. I'm a doctor of philosophy, not medicine. You'll never hear me say cancer, heart attack, stroke, the tension headache, the shoulder. These are not, life threatening health issues. I didn't assault a bank in the 90s. That's just an example saying where uh, a psychic knowing is specific. I have not. No, I'm not a strong arm robbery criminal. Though in the other pilot, that was the example of visuals that we used was. But my friend Jeff that I talked about earlier, maybe you're picking up. He not with a bank, but a restaurant. He was also involved in activities of such. I have a clean record. That was just an example, right? To say if you can think of something, let's say you're psychics, you shake someone's hand and you have a vision of the person getting married and she's in a wedding dress and she's not married yet. The psychic is specific, and intuition is a hunch, a feeling, like Melissa was saying. She feels you know, with in a intuitive. So she gets intuitions there. Um, with that. So let me see also too. So we last week, I know Judy knows this. I finished with the editor, the paranormal pilot, which is also related, you know, with ghosts and haunted locations. And we talk to people such as yourself, and you share your experiences. And the trailer is up on my YouTube. You could take a look at that. And that's Haunted Places to Visit. We just got that done on Thursday, too. So I will be working on next year, getting some traction with that pilot. With that. So let's see, what direction do I want to go in here? Orbs, right? Those of you that are interested in orbs, I had somebody else in social media ask me, right? Orbs. Orbs are balls of light. Give me 1 second, everyone, because I need to check a technicality here. Ugh. Okay, let's see. Here I have to, with this, see here how this works. Let me see something. Yeah, that's what too. And I know with Christmas, right, it brings up a lot of loss. People are missing people. It's tough, you know. So that's why I was giving you that one way to invite Mike to make contact with you. You know, it's tough. Okay, so we have someone. Let me see how to do this here. Hold on 1 second. Okay. So, I had to put somebody in timeout, everyone, because they were going off topic, and I'm learning. With Judy, we talked about this, taking the high road, because it was very distracting, because it was, you know, it was taking away. Jean Ann's ex, Vinny, since I was 5, had a death anniversary last week. Yeah, he's saying hello. What was going on in the dreams, Jean Ann? Can you give me specifics with that? What were the dreams? Can you give me some description with that to get right? Because I was talking about this at the beginning of the live. About when, right, with the dreams, like how do they look? What are they saying to you? You're welcome, Melissa. And, you know, also to know, I will keep it'll be Christmas 1:30 in New Zealand, but, you know, I will have this live again, the same time, well, I mean, it's after next, it's Thursday afternoon for you, but I'm going to keep the same schedule. So too, that, you know, if it works with your schedule, that he's alive and trying to get back together with you. That's what the dream. And how does he look in the dream? Does he look good? Because that's what too, before I go into a response to this. Yeah, she started writing, Judy, with that. Yeah, younger. So Jean Annie's letting you know. Also too, that's what too, they appear to us how they looked when they were here, when they were happiest. Now, let's say like a relative, like, you know, I'm saying someone's dad may appear older because on a recognizing level, but at times too, they'll visit looking younger. Okay, you'll be back Christmas Eve. Great, Melissa, too. Okay, yeah, Christmas Day for you. We will all be here. So you can, also too add think about what you want to write in the comments next week too. Yeah, so that's what too, he's looking younger because in the spirit world, that's what too, I mean, one of the excitements is saying when somebody's older or, that they have their youth back, or if they were young, they look the same, but especially too, I remember my dad's mom, she had, she was 98, and the first time she visited me, she showed me how her dark hair was back. She was happy to have her youth back. So yeah, he's looking young. I think it's a mix what's going on in the dream, Jean Ann. That he's letting you know he's doing well because he looks good and he's happy. But I think it's a bit of a mix of you feeling unresolved with him. So see, this is where dreams, right? They're not always, simplistic. I think there's a little bit weaving in your feelings with his visitation. Because yes, he's spending time with you, he's around you, and he's doing well, and he knows that you need comfort. And I'm also getting guidance. He's helping you with guidance. He's trying to give you guidance too. Comfort, support, love. So he is back together with you because he's spending time with you too. So you have the connection. He's there. He's connecting with you. He's, letting you know he's making the effort to spend time with you. And because you're needing to feel connection right now, because you're not always getting it in the personal life. And I'm just going to be vague, but saying with the partner and emotionally, your friend in spirit, or your companion, he's able to give you more on an emotional level. That's what I'm getting. So yeah, keep asking him. And that's good. You're able to remember the visitation because to being Pisces, several of the planets went direct in Pisces recently. And I said this, I don't know if I posted these videos on YouTube. Definitely, probably Instagram, was that a couple of the planets that are in Pisces went direct. And I said Pisces are going to really go through it. But I also said dreams are going to be very vivid now through the end of next month. And what you're seeing is, okay, good. I'm glad it makes sense, Jean Ann. That too, you're confirming that. I said this in one of the videos I posted. I think it's on here. I'd have to look. Is that also dreams are more vivid now through the end of next month as well, too. So, and being Pisces. Oh, Vinny. Okay, is this Jean Ann's Vinny is a Capricorn? That was his sign when he was here. Is that who you're referring to, Judy? Capricorn, yeah. So, also Capricorn wants to bring stability and grounding because Pisces needs that grounding. And that's a good thing with the astrology right now, too. We have more Capricorn. We just had Mars move into Capricorn on Monday. And I said this in one of the videos. Yeah, Judy, I know I've thought about that with you, too. That, I would try before you doze off a meditation and a prayer and ask to remember your dreams, that to have a remembrance, who, with family that you're close to, because that has to be opened up as well, too. So a prayer, a meditation before you doze off. But I think also your sleep's a little bit choppy, and like inconsistent. So that breaks up the recall. I mean, you are having contact, you are spending time, there is communication, you're just not remembering it, uh, is what I'm getting. So, those are some exercises um, to engage in. Yeah, and with the right now, we're going to have more planets going into Earth, which is good. I said this in one of the videos because we need the grounding. You need the psychic to dream. Um, yeah, I know. Holidays are filled with memories. It's tough. I saw this the other night too. People missing people, and I said this on Sunday night. It's the Oh, you're welcome. I appreciate you committing to signing on, and also that Jean Ann is signed on as well. I was saying this Sunday night, I mean, Christmas is made for the children, and I'm not saying we should celebrate it or we shouldn't embrace it, but as we also, as the years go by and as more years that we're here, it's rough. I mean, that's why, I was listening to people Sunday night, there's pain, there's suffering, there's loss. But, too, the other thing, too, when you're having that Christmas dinner, invite them in that empty chair. Leave a plate out, invite your dad at the table, right? You leave those empty chairs because those chairs are never empty at the table. They are filled with loved ones in from the spirit world, and even our pets, right? The one time, right, said Judy, when Gracie hologrammed in the backyard, they do stop by and visit. It's just, we're also going about our day-to-day routines here. So, a lot of times we're not picking it up too, but they're spending time, they're visiting with us. They have not forgotten us. Unfortunately, they don't miss us. We miss them, because they travel to spend time with us, but we can't pick it up all the time because the frequency is denser here. It's a dense frequency. We're in, the spirit frequency is not dense. So um that's, I think too, as we get into, yeah, that's what's saying. Gracie, when she visited, she looked younger. The brown was more vivid too of her fur. She looked how when she looked younger too. So that's also the nice thing, that any, discomfort they had in the last years, that's in the rearview mirror. That's not anymore, too. And I know this too when the pets visit, and I say this, one of the most consistent messages that they tell me telepathically is, tell my mommy, tell my daddy, please stop worrying about me. I'm fine, too. From the cats to the dogs, and the animals are pure, they go right, they cross right through. It's usually a very quick assimilation back into the spirit world. So, um, with that, so that's what too with the as we're getting into the Christmas is basically a week away. I know, as I think about it, I'm like, yikes. It's just, moving fast here. But I think that it's good with Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, for those of you that celebrate, is ways, think of ways to include them. If you're at a Christmas Eve party or having a Christmas Eve dinner, talk to them hours before, invite them, ask them with their schedule to make time during that Christmas Eve dinner, Christmas Day, to visit and spend time. Oh, thanks. To yeah, and Lily who's here. Oh, the china cabinet. Yeah, we were oh, okay, this is the china cabinet since the Carney house. So, this cabinet has a very long history, Judy. We were trying to figure out because with YouTube, they don't give you backdrops so that's why when that green screen and all that stuff I was telling you, which I have to return all that stuff, I couldn't get that to work. And then we figured out that for the YouTube, I would have the china cabinet behind me, which we have some glasses with the family crest. I don't know if they're still might be up there. I don't know if they got moved around, but yes, that china cabinet has a lot of um, family history. And I'm actually I'm not sitting in my dad's chair, but I am sitting where my father always sat at this table. So, and I have a candle lit just as right too, because bringing in the light, I have here this good fortune candle lit, because, right, the same premise like with church, bringing in the light, raising the vibration, uh, for the live, oh, thanks. You can feel it. I wasn't even thinking about it. You're just thinking about the aesthetics and the optics, like to, make sure, you have an okay enough of a background for the live because each social media, it's different. Yeah, I guess now as you talked about it, it did make me feel nostalgic and even think about my father. I wasn't really thinking about that I was sitting exactly where he would sit here until right now. So, I have been having some conversations with him last day, business related. I had a very tense day yesterday with the tenants. So I've been doing a lot of talking to dad. Yeah, Judy, he's happy now. He's happy to be out of that body. He's positive. He spends time with my great uncle, who was the one who sponsored him to come here to the United States. He lived with him in California. He spends time with my Aunt Marion. He's working on projects over there. He's enjoying himself. Dad is very happy, and I'm happy for him that he can connect and feel happiness because that was definitely a challenge for him when he was here too. So this is much better. This is an improved version of dad now. So yeah, he's enjoying himself. He's having a good time. He's glad, you know, that he's enjoying himself again because that had been a very, very long time for him. So it's more, having to come around mom, such. It's not so much I don't need him in that way. I need him with his messes he left. Really? Yeah, he likes you, Judy, and that you wished him happy birthday. He was very touched by that too. And I get that our dads have talked. So, it's not they do, that's what's saying. They do meet up and talk about, having that bond, that too. I see that very often. Oh, that's cool. That's saying, yeah, definitely. Because I know after here, Judy, I got to go up to Seagirt. I have a paranormal investigation that I committed to. I will try not to stay late because I'm filming videos tomorrow in Absecon, Galloway area too for the social media content. So, and that I have to be in Absecon by 1 p.m. But this was part of the psychic party too. Monday night, I got to go talk to a young man ghost, and he's not bad or negative, but the the person working in the office, she's a little freaked out at the moment, but it's not bad. He's just taken a liking to her. So I have to, just explain some things to him. So that's got me in Seagirt. I like to be able to film some of it, but as of right now, I was told I won't be able to film, but I will film a video if I can't film there about the paranormal, why I have to go there and what I have to do tonight afterwards in secret. So yeah, it was really good. I had the in the car I had a young man with an OD, and then one of the women, it was her friend. So that was, was like, okay, who's got the OD? The young man with the OD. Oh, good. Yeah, write some things down, Jean Ann, because that's what too, as you see, we're having spiritual conversations. Two, we're unpacking dreams to make sense of what information we're receiving. It's a gamut, that too. That's why I always have the list. I have a little bit of a list to keep with me, a structure, but it is, free form. I don't really know what we're going to talk about, because it also, I do want people talking in the comments, that I do want it interactive and participatory. So definitely write some things down. I'm planning to be on 7:30 to 9 Christmas Eve with the next live. So yeah, for sure. We got the solstice this weekend. It's new moon Friday night. So you think about, what do you want your 2026 to look like? I mean, I'll talk about this the next couple lives, but we're essentially in 2026 in that aspect. Too. So we want to focus on the positive. I know, I was thinking too, are you, both of you, thinking of signing off too? Because I know, thanks for staying on, Judy, that too. I was, I'm I'm happy that you were able to sign on and chat live. Jean Ann too, that saying with that. But yeah, I was thinking too of closing out tonight, and with everyone, think good thoughts. Remember, I say this at the live shows, remember that spirit lives on in you too. So ask your loved ones for visitations, ask them for signs, connect with the synchronicities, be open to it, because you'll get more signs and you'll get more messages, and you'll just see how things line up more. Like saying, how my guides were saying to me, I was not planning to go live on Christmas Eve, but my guides said, no, you go live, because my channel is open and clear to receive that, to move forward in that direction. And it's like a system. You feel it, like you feel just things line up better in, just your thoughts and your connection. And I saw my one cousin, who were named after same grandmother, right before I got on here to the live, so also she stopped by to give support tonight too. So I'm really happy that too, because support means a lot, because support gets us through the day and gets us through the live. So I'm going to get ready to sign off, everyone. Thank you, everyone that attended. Again, I'll have the calendar with the live. Check out my videos. follow me here on YouTube. Let me know what content of videos you're interested in as well. You know, I try to accommodate it. Check out my trailer for haunted places to visit. It's also there on my channel. Let me know what you think. I'm really excited about it. So good night, Judy. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks for being here on the live. And Jean Ann, I'll say good night to you too. And yeah, we'll definitely figure, well, you're getting to see me. I'm not getting to see you, but you know, we're getting to connect. Judy will have to figure something out. It's been a little bit, I've been going nonstop with all the filming because the paranormal content really took off on the social media. That's saying I've had a lot of interest in those videos. You can look on my channel, Jean Ann, too. I go to different places. Like I posted with Bloomfield, you know, I got asked with, you know, could I go to Parsippany? Can I go to Morristown? You know, too. There's a lot of interesting ghost stories with history, too. So, yeah, we'll definitely see each other soon. That too. So I'm going to sign off, everyone, but thank you for tuning in to, oh, okay, you'll help her find the stuff. Okay, yeah, it's there, you know, saying, Jean Ann, you found my channel. So, you know, it has video in it. I mean, it does have a lot of paranormal, like I said, but I have astrology videos too on there. And someone did ask me to do 1-minute videos of each sign. So I have that on the list as well. And I'll say sound baths are another good way to connect and open the channel. So I'll see all of you next week. Thank you for being here. Remember, spirit lives on in you. I wish you good thoughts, good happenings the next week, and see you all on Christmas Eve. Good night for now. Let's see. Nope. Let's see. Maybe it's this. Yes.